Hello everyone. So today we will look at the verbs Waren und Hatten, and we will look at in comparison to the sein verb and the haben verb. And Waren and Hatten are the verbs in preteritum form, which is in past tense. And then we have sein and haben, which are in present tense. These two verbs, right? So if you want to know more about Sein and Haben verb, you can look at other video at the channel. And today we will talk about the past form of Sein and Haben, right? So Sein means to be, and Haben means to have, right? And then for both Sein and Haben, we have the conjugation rules for these two verbs in present tense in presence, and we will look at in preteritum how is the conjugations, right? So let's look at waren. So for example, in present tense we say I am, right, or we are, or something like this, right? So if I want to say something, I was, something like I was, and so on, or we were, right? So this can be said using the past form of sein, which is waren, right here. And then if I want to say, for example, in present tense, I we say something like I have or we have, right? This is in the present tense. But if I want to say in the past tense, I had, we had, right? So we will use the past form of haben, which is hatten, right? So hatten is the past form in German. Now we can then also conjugate them depending upon the personal pronoun of the subject. So for example, below is the conjugation table showing the conjugation of waren and hatten, right? So if you remember, for the conjugation we have the stem part of the verb. So Waren and Hatten are in infinitive form, right? So these two are infinitive forms, and then the stem form of the verbs are var und then hat, right? And then en is the conjugation which we will remove, and then we conjugate the stem form for different parts. So for example, we will have ish var, du warst, sie es war, wir waren, ihr wart, sie waren. So now here you can see a pattern that for ish and ARZS, the conjugations are the same, right? The words are the same, var and var. And this pattern you will also see in modal verbs, right? Modal verbs has also for ish and ARZS the same verb conjugation, right? So we have ish var, du warst. So we have ST here, conjugation. Then ARZS var, no conjugation. Wir waren, EN. Ihr wart, T, and AZS waren. Now let's look at hatten. So ish, hatte. So we have E conjugation, du hattest, AZS hatte. And now we have again ish and AZS the same. And then wir hatten and ihr hattet. And then we have sie hatten, right? So this is the conjugation for waren and hatten, and the conjugation also for other verbs in preteritum form, which is the past tense, also follows the similar pattern. And then we can look in another video, right? So this we can use to say sentences in the past form, right? So for example, as I said, I was, right, or you were, something like this, or I had, or we had, right? It's the past form, and then we can do this in same thing in the German. So now let's look at some examples for hatten and waren, right? So we have Waren and Hatten in Praetorium, which is the past tense, right? And then we have sein and haben in present tense, presence, right? And then now we will look at examples and try to convert them in from present to past in German, right? So heute bin ich in Berlin. So today I'm in Berlin, right? So heute is today, so the past of today is right like yesterday or something like this. So we will say yesterday here. So yesterday is gestern, gestern, and then here we have to do for the bin, right? For according to ish it is bin, so we have ish var ish in Berlin, right? So we had to do this sein in the past is waren, and for waren we have to conjugate with respect to ish. So gestern war ich in Berlin, right? And also you already know in German the verb is always at the second position, right? And I conjugated war with respect to ish, right? And then for the past we are saying gestern, yesterday, right? So now let's look at the other sentence. Heute habe ich Zeit, right? So today I have time. Now we will say it for past tense, then we will say gestern, gestern. Then haben, this is haben, so past is hatten, and then we will conjugate hatten with respect to ish, right? We have to conjugate here. So for ish we have hatte, right? In the past form, hatte ish Zeit. Yesterday I had time, right? So now third example, heute habe ich Spaß, right? Today I had fun, right? So again we will do gestern, yesterday, hatte ich Spaß, right? So here it was haben which was conjugated with respect to ish, but in the past form we will have hatten which we will conjugate with respect to ish. So I have hatte ish Spaß, Spaß, right? Now heute bin ich nicht da. So today I was not there, right? Today I'm not there, sorry. Right? Heute bin ich nicht da. So gestern war ich nicht da. Yesterday I was not there, right? So we will do sein, then sein is been here. So for sein we have waren, so we will conjugate waren with respect to ish. So war, gestern war ich nicht da. Heute bist du müde. Today you are tired. Gestern warst du müde, right? Yesterday you were tired. And then here we have waren which is conjugated with respect to do, right? So always the verb is at second position we can see, and it is being conjugated with respect to the subject, right? And the last one, heute hast du keine Zeit. Today you have no time. So we can say gestern, yesterday you had no time, right? Gestern hattest, hatten we conjugated du keine Zeit, right? So that's how we will do it. So we conjugate hatten and waren in the past tense, and then in the present we have sein and haben, right? And then it gives the feeling of I was, I had, and in the present we have the I am, you are, you have, we have, or something like this, right? So this way you can do it. And then you have the special pattern in the conjugation, which is for do and s, the conjugations are the same, you can see, right? So it makes it easier to learn that for, sorry, ish and s, not do, ish and s, we have the same conjugations, and then you have everything else with the following the conjugation rule, right? So if you have any doubt, you can write in the comments. Then, or if you want to understand past tense more in detail, then I can make another video. You can let me know, and you can also share your answer how you did it for the below exercise. Till then, we meet in the next video.